Good morning, Building Connections that are talks. This is your host, Betty Gonzalez, and I'm got something really good for you today. And I'm going to be talking about how the buyers in South Florida need to be very careful when trying to purchase a house that has been flipped by an investors. So stay tuned because I want to share with you some of the experiences that I personally have faced with some of my clients. Again, this is Betty Gonzalez in Building Connections with All Talks. Welcome to my new setup. I'm sorry I'm a little late because I'm trying to figure this stuff out. And I've been doing it for 30 minutes and I'm still late of how to get on this one, on this form. I'm hoping that I'm being recorded and that you can actually hear me. So let's cross the fingers and let's get to it. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather, guys. So it might be a little echoey. I am sorry. Look, I bought me a fancy microphone that I haven't been able to hook up since last night. So I wanted to sound good for you, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I had to come live and show you and bring you this information. Let me put a little light here so they can brighten up my face so I can look good for you. At least if you don't, nothing want to work today. Nothing want to work today. But let's get to it. So listen up, guys. I was in the middle of a transaction with the client. And some of these flippers flip the houses very, very, very nice. And I'm not going to say that all of the investors in South Florida do this, but please be careful because I have tried to work with 3 of them. And 2 of them, for a fact, didn't get permits from the city. And this is where it gets really tricky. So let me back up and tell you the story of my first client. My first client that this happened over a year ago. She was desperate to move out of her rental. She just really, really wanted to move in her first new house. And she kept on telling me, Betty, I really want a house. I just want to move. And I was like, hey, listen, I have a disclaimer on all of my contracts. And I said, if there's any open permits or outstanding debt or liens against the house, that the seller has to clear those out before closing, so that my client, when they have this house, they have a brand new house with nothing attached to the property. You want that. Well, I had that stipulation there, and my client decided that she wanted to move. So guess what happened? Then we will have to write a memorandum saying that she will waive those rights and that she will take on the responsibility of getting the one permit. According to this, it was a simple permit. The windows were done. Everything was done. Come to find out, that person who did the job supposedly was this contractor that didn't do the job. They just lent their the contract license to someone else to do the job. And then the main person died. It's just crazy how this happened. So my client has been going around. I was going back and forth to find out what's going on because she wanted this to be done because the permit was open. When we did the research to the city, even though the seller wanted to pay to close the permit, they could have never closed it because it was never opened correctly in the first place with the contractor. Contractor's dead. The contract license person of the dead person was used even though the dead person didn't do it. So it was a mess. She even went through a lawyer. So what I'm trying to say is, don't put yourself in a position because you don't know what's going to happen when you go to the city to see if you can even get the permits of the work that was done. Because let me tell you this, when somebody does work and it is done correctly, it's done through a contractor. And like I said, if it's done correctly, this contractor has a permit, right? If they do not have a permit, then they're not going to be able to do the job legally through the city. So let's say now you buy a house, which happened to my client. My clients signed up this waiver saying, don't worry, I take care of this. It's simple. Well, now you done buying a house. They don't have to answer to you to anything because you said you were going to take on this responsibility. Whether or not they did something illegal or not, now this is your problem to solve. And now, mind you, this is simple. What I really want to tell you is about the contract that I'm writing a cancellation for this morning, and I have to talk about this today because it is really, 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 really bad when the agents are not informed. Or let's say in this case, me, that I wasn't informed and that I was not counseling my clients. Because at the end of the day, an agent could cost you money, could cost you headaches, or could save you from headaches, or could save you money and time. Okay. And this is what I want to get. And I'm not trying to tell you, I'm not patting myself in the back. There's thousands of agents, and there's hundreds that are bad, and there's hundreds that are great. I'm just telling you, I want you to know what to look for and what it is that you're supposed to have and what kind of representation you want to have, okay? So I'm gonna finish telling you what I'm telling you, and then I'm gonna show you some of the stuff, because I was trying to negotiate with these agents. It was really disappointing because I don't think they were coming from a bad place. I just think they were coming from a misinformation place. Or they were hoping that I was misinformed, or that my clients were not informed. I'm gonna tell you something, I am very lucky. My clients are very well educated, and most of them are veterans. So they're used to doing due diligence, and they do homework. They know, and if they don't know, they go find out. And they sometimes educate me. So if I'm not in the end, one end educating them, they're on the other end educating me. So it makes my job so much easier because I work with competent clients. I'm not saying that everybody is a college grad and it just happened to be that they do their work, they do diligence, right? And because of that, it's easy to talk to them because they understand that I know what I'm telling them because they've already done their own research as well. So my other client, by the way, my first client from last year, I spoke to her yesterday because although this is happening, I'm always keeping in touch with my clients. And I even apologized to her because even though she signed it, I said, "Are you sure?" I know she was sure she wanted it, but I didn't think that she knew the amount of headaches that she was going to go through. And had she known, she probably wouldn't have signed that. And I vowed that I wasn't going to let any other client go through that. And that was just simple. Now, the transaction that I'm in today, that's going to be canceled today. This flipper did a really, 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 really great job. They fixed everything pristine from the roof all the way to the floors. I mean, it's a gorgeous flip. They did a great job. But what they did not do, they didn't get any permits for any of the work. And let me explain something to you guys. Why this is so important. Why it is so important that you need to know this. And you need to know this before you close on any property and doing your due diligence time. For those of you that do not know what due diligence time means, it's usually during your inspection period, okay? So here we go. The reason this is so crucial is because we are in the state of Florida. Listen to me. If you have a house that was built, I don't know, before 1978, which is the year that I was born, which is a key year because you have to do a lead base paint addendum, right? So that is over 46 years old. You know that roofs last anywhere, depending on the kind of roof, 15, 20 to 30. It depended on the roof. So any roof that was done prior to that, it's way too old, right? But let me tell you, if this is an older house, which this house was very old, because it is in a mature built out city, that means that if you didn't take any permits, anything that was done in your property doesn't count as it was done. This looks on paper as an old house. And guess what happened to old houses? Insurance costs go literally through the roof. Because my clients are going to end up paying thousands of dollars extra on insurance because this roof or any situation, they had impact windows and throughout the house. Everything was brand new. New AC, new everything. That they just didn't take the extra step to get a permit from. Now, what's the big deal, Betty? So if everything was done correctly, if everything was done and it's new, why can't your clients just take on this and do it themselves? Sounds good. which they wanted to do. And they even went this extra step to go through the city to try to get the permits to see how much it's going to cost to all of these permits so that we can work something out with the seller. And they came up to around $1,800, $1,900 worth of permits to get everything up to code and up to date in the city, right? I just didn't feel well with that because this is the whole house, right? Now, I call my client. I send the information because I have to do that. But I call my client and I was like, listen, this is my job to inform you of what I believe are best practices. And I know you want to buy this property, and it is not my job to tell you to buy it or not to buy it. But it is my job to tell you the risks that you're taking, right? Which were great. These were great risks. Why? Because let's say my client closes on this property, okay? And this is the whole house, the roof, the floors, the electricity, the plumbing, the kitchen, everything, the AC, everything, all of the major parts of the functioning or well-functioning property needed to be permitted through the city. Remember, I told you, if you're a contractor or whoever works on it, in order for it to get done correctly, you have to have a contractor and a contractor's license to say that you are licensed to fix this property. Now, if you want to go through the city, actually, you have to go through the city. There's steps in the process that they have to inspect. It could be different phases. Because if it is something in the walls, they need to be able to see it before you close the walls, right? If it is something electrical, they have to see it before you can move on to stage 2, 3, or whatever steps that they have. And if they don't have the chance to do that, then it's problematic, especially when it comes to safety like electrical work or roofing, right? Or even windows, because if they're poorly installed, improperly installed, when you have a hurricane, if your windows are not great, it doesn't matter if they're impact windows, if they're installed incorrectly, they can come off. And this is the major dangers of hurricanes, right? Windows, if the windows are not great, then the wind comes through, and that's what takes your roof. It comes through the window first and it takes your roof off, okay? So that is major here in South Florida. Now, let's say that all of this happens. Let's say that they have all of that. But now when they go to the city comes and they do the inspections. It doesn't pass inspections because it was done incorrectly. Now, whose liability is this? That will be on the person who bought the house that actually took on that responsibility and said it was okay. Especially if they get compensated to do so. If they were asking for money because they said they were going to go and do that. I just told my clients, are you sure you want to go through this? Because I don't want you to have buyer's remorse. I don't want you to buy a property to then feel that you made a mistake. And as soon as you move in the property, you have all this burden on you. Not only you have to pay more insurance, then you have to go through all of this process. And let me tell you, once you close on this property, it does no matter what contractor work on this house. Whether they have actual contractor and they have a license or not, it doesn't matter. They didn't work for you. You did not hire them. Whoever hired them already hired them and paid them, and they move on. So if you were to call them for a job that they completed and got paid, they don't have to answer to you. Now, if you want them to do something, because remember, no one is going to sign their name and their license on a job they didn't do. And if they did do it and you want them to come and redo something, you're going to have to pay out of pocket. And how much? I don't know. And you don't want to find out. So this is what the process is and what I advise my clients. Now, this is the part that I want to show you because this is really unfortunate. I'm going to show you right now what the agents send me as text. Obviously, I took out their names. You don't see the numbers. You don't see the name of the house, nothing, right? But I want to explain to you the kind of things that if the agent does not know, let's say that me as your agent, I don't know either. Then I could advise you the wrong way, or your other agent could advise you the wrong way. And this is not what you want. Now, bear with me. because I'm in a new setup and I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to share the screen correctly. Let me put my glasses on. So she asked me, in addition to the 3,000, what else specifically do you need? And I was like, since you don't want to call me, I'm going to email you all of the details, which I was going to anyway. And she replies to me, I just need exactly what you want in writing, which is fine, either by email or text. Okay, okay, just send you the email with more details. I did. And then she replies, seller will offer $5,000 at closing. That is it. If that doesn't work for your client, please send cancellation. Let me see if you can know, because it's backwards. And then I said, I understand that everything is new. This is me telling it. However, when filing out the permits with the city, they'll ask for the contractors and license numbers. And right now they don't have that. They cannot take on that responsibility, as they won't even know if they will pass the inspection. I hope that you and your clients can understand the position that they want my client to take. And then she replies to me, you know what? I'm not going to be able to show you live, but I'm going to place it over here so that you can read it for yourselves in the edited version, okay? I'm going to put it up here. Permits are necessary because it's owner built. It does not matter what. And I'm going to also put it over here, what the city of West Palm Beach, the whole county, Palm Beach County actually, what it is required. I might even put a link to it if you are in this position and you want to know. You do have to put all this. It's like no general contractors. The only thing they would need to go back and get a permit for would be for the roof for insurance purposes. No, that's not the only thing. That is not the only thing, guys. An owner doesn't need a permit to replace cabinetry and appliances. That is true. If you don't want it to count. For example, right here, I made an office in my house where it used to be my formal dining room. I actually enclosed it. Look, I put walls and I put doors. I made a, how do you call this? A closet here. I altered the walls. I made it pretty for me, but I'm not trying to sell this house. This, if done permitted, it would be a fifth room. Why? Because it have AC, it has a window, it has a closet, and it has doors. This could very well be a 5-bedroom house, has it done correctly done through the city, because now the city can record that it's a 5-bedroom house. I didn't do that. I only did this for my pleasure because I wanted to use this as an office because I do videos for you guys, right? So, no, yeah, I can do it for my own pleasure, but I cannot go out and advertise this property as a 5-bedroom house. I can advertise it as a 4-bedroom with a den or with an extra space for you to use as an office. But it cannot legally be advertised as a 5-bedroom because I never legally went through the city to get the permits so for this to be an actual bedroom, so that it could be on the tax records as a 5-bedroom house, because a 5-bedroom house is worth more than a 4-bedroom house, right? Yes, so you can, but this person is selling a house. When you're selling a house and advertising it as you have everything done from the top to bottom, then you're advertising it as a brand new house. Then it needs to be on the city records as a brand new house. I hope that I'm being clear, because I know I hear myself and as clear, but I hope that I'm just as clear to you as I think I am clear to myself. So, does not need a permit to replace cabinetry and appliances and drywalls. Yes, you do. If you want it to count, if you want it to be recognized in the tax records, right? Now, but what she said was, before that, she said that my clients, she was explaining after the fact, my clients Seller will offer $5,000 credit at closing. That is it. If that doesn't work for your client, please send cancellation. So I pause, I call my client, I explain what happened, what they say, and he agreed not to continue to buy the house because we have already talked about what he was gonna take on and he didn't feel comfortable. And I'll say, okay, I'll send you a cancellation tomorrow morning. Now they wanna negotiate. So I wanna put this up over here too. This was the other text that I got from a secondary agent in the contract that I haven't spoken to. By the way, it was really difficult to actually get this agent on the phone to do negotiation. If you're an agent, please talk to somebody that is trying to negotiate a house worth close to $500,000. Talk, have conversations. Negotiation should be done through text. Unfortunately, this is the only way that they're communicating with me. Very seldom they will answer my phone or pick up or call me back. So this person says, hi, I'm the other realtor on the transaction. I'm reaching out to see if we can work something out. That would have been nice if they did this prior to then just say, send your cancellation if your client doesn't want it, and they wouldn't speak to me. I have worked with the property owner previously, and I can speak up on his behalf and say that he is extremely meticulous and has no problem making things right and easy for your client. If this is the case, then they could have gone ahead themselves and get the permits. That's all my clients want. My clients either you do it, or if I do it, you need to give me all of the contractors' name and information. You know what? I'm gonna also leave this email right here. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna leave this email right here when I sent everything that my client was offering and asking. It was reasonable. It wasn't unreasonable. I typed this email, but I read it with my client to make sure that I sent exactly how they were feeling. Okay, this is what you want. So let's go back to this text. Previously, I extremely meticulous, has no problem making things right and easy for your client. This property is 100% up to code, and there will be no issue getting permits. Say who? Are you the contractor and you know that this is up to code? Are you the city? How do you know? You're an agent. So you put in your words. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't put 100% up to code. I wouldn't say that. I'm an agent. I wouldn't say, yeah, they did it 100% up to code. I don't know. I didn't inspect it. I'm not a contractor. I'm not a city inspector. But this wording will make an agent that does not know feel like, oh, yeah, it's 100% up to code. No, I don't know. He is a law enforcement officer here and was originally renovating this house for family out of the country who ended up going through a tragic life event and can no longer move here. Okay, sounds good, but I would never be able to know this. This is essentially why no permits were pulled on this property. It was never intended to be sold. I can send you his contact as well if the client feels better talking to the actual source. Listen, no. If this is the case, they probably could have talked to us and say, hey, if you don't feel comfortable, let us go through the process. Let us go through the permitting process through the city. So when you buy my property, you have a good property. You have a complete finished property that you don't have to longer worried about. Yes, I built it. We know it's up to code, and we're going to go through the city permits and go through all of that so that when I give you the key, you just have to move in, because that is essentially what my clients thought they were buying when they saw a brand new house. Anyway, guys, I hope you find value on what I'm telling you. Please be careful, beware. When you find and you look at beautiful house, go through the city websites and see the requirements. See, this is public record. Go, you will be able to see it. Type your county or type the city and go and put the address. You should be able to see all the permits. It is public record. If you don't know, ask your agent to help you a little bit. My clients did it for themselves. And then I did the research, and I'm showing you the permits that they have to go through. But I've already know this as well. And I talked to my clients, and I was like, I know you want this property. I know it's beautiful, but I wouldn't want you to regret a purchase, because then you have to go through hoops. Remember, those contractors did not work for him. They already done this work months ago. They don't care. And once you close on this property, nobody will care. They will ghost you. They barely communicated with me, even through a transaction of almost $500,000. Anyway, guys, thank you for connecting today. I truly hope that you got value out of this video, and I hope it's not too echoey. Welcome to my new format. I'm going to try to do better next week. Hopefully have everything figured out. Thank you for connecting and building connections Doral Talks. I see you next week, and have a great week, a great weekend. Bye.
Real quick, calling all Doral professionals, entrepreneurs, and community influencers. Are you ready to showcase your business, share your knowledge and experience with our engaged audience? Building Connections Doral Talks invites you to become a guest speaker on our podcast. Share your unique perspectives and inspiring stories with our listeners. We believe in the power of your voice in shaping that conversations right here in Doral. Click the link below to submit your information and be part of our next episode. Join us in building connections, sharing knowledge, and growing together. Don't miss this opportunity to be a featured guest on Building Connections Doral Talks. Tune in, connect, share, and grow together with Building Connections Doral Talks, reshaping the way we engage with the diverse voices of Doral, one guest at a time. Doral Talks, your voice, our community. Click the link now on the show notes, the screen, or in the comments below, or just scan the QR code to submit your information as a guest. I hope to see you soon. See you in the next podcast. Bye.